All right, let's talk about what's working in the world of social media from the angle of those who want to leverage these platforms in order to sell services and courses and products online or in store. Now, just a bit of context, I have a channel called To Fluency for English language learners. I reach a lot of people through different social media platforms, and I like to experiment and to see what works. And we've definitely seen some trends this year. And also, I found that certain types of content work better than others. But before I go too deep into that, I just want to briefly say it's also important to think about how you're going to create content that gets your message in front of new people and that people like to consume, but also at the same time manage to push people down the path of taking your courses and services from that social media audience, because it's a real fine balance here between creating lots of content that people like and selling people stuff. And I've made a video on this called the Content plus CTA method, so I won't go into depth in this here, but no, just search for Teaching ESL Online Content CTA and you can watch that video. But what we're going to do is look at these different platforms and talk about what's working. And I'm just going to start with a very quick story about Snapchat, because this is relevant to what we're going to talk about. Now, Snapchat, I started using this in 2015, maybe 2016, I can't remember now. But they had this feature which blew my mind, and I thought, wow, this is really good. I love doing this. It's a simple feature. So you can send people messages, or you could create Snapchat stories, where vertically on your phone, you record a story, a video, or a photo, add some text maybe, add some stickers, and then everyone who follows you has access to this. And I was getting amazing engagement and interaction on that. But then, as you probably know, Instagram came out with Instagram stories and just took this feature and made it their own. And ever since then, I stopped using Snapchat and just used the Instagram version of this, because Instagram for me is a little bit of a better platform. I prefer using it, and more of the preferred audience that I have is on that platform. But then YouTube looked at this and said, you know what, this looks good too. We're going to do YouTube stories. And while this hasn't taken off as much on YouTube, I have sometimes done stories which have reached tens of thousands of people, and a lot of those are people who aren't following me, which actually is giving me a reminder to make more stories on YouTube. And then Facebook just copied, well, Facebook and Instagram the same. They took that feature and put it on the Facebook platform, Facebook Stories. And now Twitter has come out with Fleets, which, if you've seen them, are basically exactly the same. So this is showing that this very short content, vertical, fleeting content, fleets, where it goes away within a certain amount of time, usually 24 hours, where videos are restricted to 15 seconds. This is the kind of content that people like to consume right now. Very quick content, it's gone briefly. It's there and it's gone. But people like to consume that content. And I think part of the disappearing part of the stories makes people want to click on it. It's like any kind of deadline where you know it's going to go away, so this is your only chance to take in this content. Now, as a teacher and a content creator, I also like the stories content creation process too, where it's short, it's on your phone, you can take a quick snapshot, you can do questions and answers, all that kind of stuff, where it's very interactive, it's easy to make, and because you know it's going to go away, you don't worry too much about making it really polished. In fact, having it unpolished, if that's a word I want to use, works better with that kind of content. So stories right now still have great engagement. And part of this as well has come through the TikTok revolution this year, where TikTok has really taken over. I'm going to admit, I haven't really used TikTok for business as yet. Kind of a new learning process. I don't want to try to create content every day on 7 different platforms. So I haven't really used it that much, but you can see the influence now of TikTok on other platforms, where Instagram have Instagram Reels, and also YouTube are coming out with something similar too. Now, just as a side note, because I have a business account, I can't use music with the Instagram Reels, which is quite frustrating. So I haven't really done much of the reel stuff as yet. But I want to now dig into different types of content too, because we have the stories. Now, quick thing here. When we're talking about content plus call to action, a call to action in a story, the obvious one is swipe up, but I think that's limited to accounts with 10,000 followers. When that first came out, when I first got access to it 3 years ago, I think now, it was amazing because I had 15,000 followers back then and about 7,000 people watched my stories. 10% of those swiped up, which is 7,000 people. But that didn't last long. So I said, new YouTube video, swipe up, 10,000 people did, 7,000 people did it. That didn't last long at all because people overdid it. They got bored of swiping up. They just wanted to stay on the platform. So, but that is one call to action, swipe up. Another one is, if you don't have that feature, is to say, I have this resource for you, or buy my course, or get my services, go to my profile. And then people click on your profile, click the link and go from there because you're only allowed one link in your Instagram profile. So that's a call to action of stories. Now, video content on Instagram has been incredible for me recently. The 1 minute video or less than 1 minute video, I love that restriction because again, that restriction leads to creativity. And it leads to you taking action because when you have all these options when filming a YouTube video, it sometimes can be overwhelming. Am I going to do it with a microphone, on my camera, on my phone? Am I going to edit it? Is it going to be 2 minutes? Is it going to be 20 minutes? Is it going to be an hour? Am I going to do it live? So many different options there. And you can go back and forth between those different types of creatives. But on Instagram, restricted to a minute. People expect this video to be on your phone as well, which makes it easier to do. And I've been using something on the iPhone called Clips, where it automatically transcribes your video to about 97% accuracy. And you can just edit the 3 words that aren't right. And then you can upload that to Instagram and it has those subtitles on the screen. So that's been working really well for me. I'm just gonna look at some of my stats now because the views I've been getting on it have been great. 6 to 18,000 views on the videos I've been creating, the 1 minute length, which is good for a channel of 41,000. And I've had this channel for quite a long time. It was a little bit stale for a year or so. So a lot of my initial early followers aren't getting the action. That's one thing as well. Momentum is key. If you can keep momentum going, you can ride that wave very quickly. If for whatever reason you stop posting as much for 6 months, you lose that initial momentum, but it's easier to pick it back up, if that makes sense. So those 1 minute videos have been doing really well. Something that's not been working well, IGTV, Instagram stories. I get around 2,000 views on those videos. So about a third of the views for Instagram TV. And I think it's because most people on Instagram want short and sweet content. They don't want that long form content. Instead, they'll go to YouTube for that. They'll be on the YouTube platform if they want videos of 10 minutes or longer. So I think Instagram TV isn't really working as much. Now, what I'm also doing is just sharing those Instagram videos automatically to Facebook. And again, like those quick videos, I share it once in a group I have. I don't share it myself that much, although I might start doing it into different groups just to boost them further. But if I go here, the views I've been having on them have been great. Like, it's just taking a minute to load. But one I did, a longer form one, 2,500. But then a short form, 55 seconds, 7,000. A short form, 40 seconds, 19,000. With 4,000 engagements on it. That's insane. The issue here though, on these Facebook posts, is I find that if I put the link in the description, a call to action link, it just kills the reach of that video. I'm going to try doing it where I pin a comment instead and see if that helps. And Facebook have just come out with post testing, and it's going a little bit deep here, but they have this post testing where you can Compare anything from video content to titles, thumbnails, and descriptions. I mean, how cool is that? So you can A/B test content now on Facebook. However, for whatever reason, to Fluency is not available for that, whereas Teaching ESL Online is. So I can create a test on Teaching ESL Online. I think you need a business account for it. And you can upload anything here and test it for key metrics, and then do the different types of versions of this to see which one works best, which is incredible. YouTube have been saying that they've been wanting to do this for a long time, where you can test different thumbnails and see which one gets clicked on the most. If they bring that in, or when they bring that in, I'm going to use that so much, because the click-through rate is so important. If you have a good video, the click-through rate is the most important metric after that, everything else being equal. But yeah, quick videos on Instagram, Facebook. I'm struggling a little bit to find the call to action on Facebook. However, there is the option of advertising. So, and the key point to advertising is that advertising to a warm audience is so much better than a cold audience. So if people have already interacted with your content, then you place an ad in front of them, it's going to work well, or a lot better than just, hi, you don't know me, but this, and this, and this. So that's something to bear in mind too. Now, TikTok. To be honest, I don't know too much about TikTok. Again, I haven't been using this in my business account, but I know people have been using it and getting really good results from it. Another one to think about is YouTube and Twitter. Let's start with YouTube, okay? So YouTube, it's more evergreen content. It's a little bit harder to get that initial momentum going from YouTube. So I see teachers who start out on Instagram and YouTube at the same time. Their Instagram followers are like 10,000, YouTube 800. It's a little bit harder just to get things going on YouTube. But once it gets going, it's more evergreen. Now, what I'm finding work on YouTube right now, 7 to 15 minute lessons, also live lessons. Now, I've been doing live lessons because it's easier for me to create that content, and the time that I can spend creating content has been reduced dramatically because December 2020, homeschooling, all that kind of stuff. But that it's more for longer form content, and it's still such a great platform. It has that evergreen style of content where especially if you're teaching something, then those videos will get shown up for years later in search results, on the home page, when people are browsing suggested videos, all those different ways that you can get a new audience. So YouTube for me has still been really good. But I think when starting out, Instagram and Facebook are fantastic too. Now, the other one I want to talk about is Twitter. Now, I like Twitter as a platform, but it really needs lots of engagement where you're posting a lot each day, you're responding to comments, and you're commenting on other people's posts. It needs some kind of collaboration as well, where you're sharing people's content there, retweeting yours, so then you can, get in front of each other's audience. And to be honest, I don't have the desire to spend lots of time on Twitter, because I also find being on Twitter and being on my phone all day, it's a little bit draining. I like to create the content as much as I can, using my computer, using my phone for short form, and then just getting it out there. So that's just something else to think about when it comes to those platforms. But the reach right now, I think, TikTok is massive, Instagram is massive as well, and it just surprises me with Facebook every time. You think it's dead, you think you're not reaching people, but again, it depends on the content you're creating. If you're trying to send people to your website and it doesn't have that little lightning thing in it, your reach is going to be so small because people aren't interacting with that. They're not clicking the link. It's not being sent out to new people. If you have a 40-second video with something on screen, subtitles, text, something that engages people, then it's going to reach just so much more people compared to those other posts. So that's why I want to talk about what's working today. Short form content, stories, interacting with people on Instagram, things like questions and answers, polls, stickers, that kind of stuff, where people are actually doing stuff with your content. Works so well. Now, if you have any questions about this, please leave them below. I have a course which goes through how to use social media, email marketing, and landing pages. It is free to take. You can get mentoring from me as well and buy the course forever, because the course is available for 5 days, but you can download stuff as well, PDFs and stuff like that. And it just goes through how to start from nothing to having a automated sales funnel with landing pages and how to use social media. And it goes through the technical aspect as well. The link to that is in the description, or if you're on Instagram, hi on Instagram, it's in my profile. All right, let me know if you have any questions and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.